Good afternoon, Blue Team. This is Jim again. We're back here. As we talked about earlier, I wanted to show you just a real quick synopsis of how to use a diff command when you're looking you want to compare the contents of two files and some basic switches. If you are just getting started and all of this Linux platform is kind of new to you, you may want to watch the video. If the first series in this video, I know it seemed kind of high level. If you understood that completely, then there's probably no need to watch this video. But if that kind of washed over you, then this might help out a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a diff command in this scenario, and what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be comparing two files. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and create two blank files. So we'll use a command called touch to create two blank files. Touch, T-O-U, touch. We'll call this cat. Touch cat, and we will touch horse. Then we'll come back and we'll go nano cat. We're going to add a couple lines of code to nano cat. This a little bit of a delay there is the fourth line in this code. And then we will hit Control O. That'll write it out. Just hit Enter. And then we'll hit Control X. And then we will do cat. Then we'll looking at the content. I know it seems kind of crazy, but probably wasn't a good choice of files. Cat. And then we will look at nano horse. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this file in there exactly. And I'm probably just going to add a little space up here between the test and the one. And there we go. I will write this file out and then save it. And then we will cat horse. Okay, so now we've got the two files. What we've done, the cat command, all it did was it just let us look at the contents of the file. We didn't do anything, just viewed it, kind of like print command in what you might refer to DOS or command line. So what we'll do now is we'll use a diff command here, diff cat horse. I'm not going to use any switches right yet. Just show you kind of what happens when we're doing the difference command between these two files. So if we look at the do you see the greater than right here? And the greater than, less than, greater than. If you come back and you look at these, if you'll notice, this was in the file content folder 2. This was in file content folder 1, cat, horse. And this is in our, I think that was in the horse file or cat file. Anyways, when we look at it, it's doing a comparison. If you notice these are different between these two, that means this is the file, the first one that we brought in, and then this is the one we're looking at. So we're actually doing a comparison between the contents of the file line by line. So it's actually doing a line by line comparison, and it's only, if you notice, it's showing us the content that's different. So compare file for test 1, this is the fourth line in this code. The rest of the stuff that was the same, it didn't flag it. So the only stuff it's actually showing us is the stuff that's different. So we'll come back over here, we'll put a switch in there, put a space for R, excuse me, that was recursive. And we can use Q for a high level view. So all that the Q is telling us is pretty cool here is that files cat and horse, they differ. So if you were to see that as if in the other video and it was doing this, I think it listed 7 things when we did the high level, the Q, the overview. It just showed 2 files that differ. So that means that file has changed since when that file was copied over and to when we ran this command against it. So it saved the baseline. So my recommendation for you guys is when you sit down at the system, go ahead and get a copy of that thing. And you got to understand, these systems already may be pre-corrupt. before you ever touch the system. So don't rely upon that copy you make, that baseline copy you make of that log file, but you'll be looking for changes as you go through the competition to those log files on your systems. You need to understand that content in that users may already be corrupt. So you need to look in. There's other commands as you're hardening your Linux that you'll be able to use to be able to look at the different users and stuff and see if the users are valid or not. So anyways, just thought this little bit of follow-up on using the diff command would probably help y'all a little bit. It is part of the hardening for the Debian and Fedora and Ubuntu. And the version I'm using here is Ubuntu 8.5. Just as a side note, when you're doing that hardening, make sure once again that as you're going through the steps, make sure that you do rename your files, and you don't want the files to have the exact same name. So as you're doing this, you wouldn't want to use horse. Just as a side note. And you can sit here and you can actually go into different directories as you would any other command in Linux, for those that are kind of new to this. Just a little something to know. As you noticed, we actually did a directory change. I'll show you real quick. If you look here, go back a directory. So say I had one of those files over here like test. We have a directory of test, but say we put a file in test, say cat or horse was in there, we could actually be in the next directory or one directory down, and then use we could change directories, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So you could compare the file you're looking at in the directory you're at and look at a file in another directory, like what we were doing in the previous lab. Well, that's it for this one. It's pretty simple, not really a whole lot to this. I just wanted to just point out a few little small nuances, and with a little bit of less code to look at or less content, it makes it a little bit easier to understand.